In this tutorial, I will show you how to create lines and shapes and how to modify them in Adobe InDesign. So please note I have chosen a yellow outline here and I made it rather thick, 3 points, so that we can see what we are creating. So let's start with the line tool. We just activate it, we click somewhere, drag it, and there's your line. Now if I click somewhere and press Shift and drag it, then the line will be either horizontal or diagonal 45 degrees or vertical in either direction, so it locks the direction of my line. Now if I want to modify this one, I just pick the direct selection tool. Sorry, let's move this back into the screen. And you see that I have these points here which are called anchor points. Now if I click on this, I can move it. If I click outside, it will deselect, and then I see that I can select anchor points, separate anchor points. So if I select this anchor point, now this one's selected and this one's not, and then move it, it will move only this anchor point and the line will follow. So this is how I can modify my line. Or I can select both anchor points again and then move it. Sorry. Yeah. So this is what will happen. Now the pen tool can do the same. So I click somewhere, it creates an anchor point, and then I click again, it creates the next anchor point. But if I continue clicking, I can create a more complex line, in this case a polygon. And I can do more with the pen tool. If I click here and drag without releasing the mouse, you see that I can create curved lines with my pen tool. Now I can close this curve by going back to the starting point, and you see instead of the arrow next to my pen tool, a small circle will appear. That means that I'm closing this shape now, and in this way I can create a custom shape. I can fill this as you see, or I can delete the fill here. I don't need it really. So, and this is a shape in which I can place text, in which I can place an image, same as I do in shapes created with a shape tool. Now as for editing this, how do I edit this? Again, I do it with the direct selection tool. So I click outside to deselect, I click on this path, I see my anchor points here, I can select an anchor point, drag it, and it will move, or I can select two anchor points at the same time, drag them, or with the shift key add a third one like this one and drag these three. But I can do more. If I select a point like this, then I see these handles, and these handles I can also modify by moving them around. So I can not only move this point, but I can also, by moving these handles, I can modify the curvature of my curve in this point. Yeah. Also, if I want to add anchor points, I can go here, I can select the Add Anchor Point tool, click on a segment, and here I have a new anchor point, a smooth one on a curved segment, and a corner anchor point without any handles on a straight segment. If I think that some anchor point I don't really need, then I can delete it with the Delete Anchor Point tool like this. And then there's another one, which is the Convert tool here. And using this one, I can turn corner points into smooth points and the other way around. So if I click on a corner point here and drag it, it becomes a smooth point, you see? So the handles will appear here. If I click on a smooth point, then it will become a corner point again, so there are no handles here. And also, if I click on a smooth point, if I click on a smooth point and then pick a handle, I can move it independently, so the handles are no longer aligned in a straight line. So this point is not smooth anymore. You see, so the handles go in angled directions, but these segments, they remain curved, and I can individually control their curvature without affecting the other one. With the direct selection tool, I can't do this. If I start like editing this one, the other side of the handle will move together with this one. Now, if I start editing this one, what will happen is I can edit it independently with the direct selection tool, you see. So I have three types of points. These are points with handles which aren't smooth, so these are curved corner points. These are smooth points, and these are straight corner points which have no handles whatsoever, and I can turn one into another using the convert tool. Now, as you see, it's rather inconvenient because I have to jump back and forth between tools, between the direct selection and the convert tool and the pen tool and the add and delete anchor points tool. But there's a way around this, so let me select the pen tool again. And now look, if I move my pen tool onto a segment of a selected path, then it turns into an add anchor point tool, you see? And I can add an anchor point here, or I can add an anchor point here, you see? I can also drag it so that it becomes smooth. Now, if I go near an existing anchor point, then my pen tool turns, you see the small minus there? It turns into a delete anchor point tool. So if I click here, it will delete this anchor point, like this. Now, if I want to edit, I have still my pen tool, and I click on Control, and my pen tool turns into a direct selection tool. So with this, I can move anchor points, or I can edit handles, or edit handles like this. So it behaves exactly like the direct selection tool. Now, if I want to modify some of my anchor points, then I have to click the Alt key, and then my pen tool turns into the convert tool. You see, pen tool selected here, Alt key pressed, and it becomes the modify tool. And here again, I can drag this and make it smooth. I can move the handles individually here, or I can turn this back again into a straight point like this, you see, or into a curved point back again. Like this. So that's the way how to work with paths in Adobe InDesign by using only the pen tool and keyboard shortcuts. That's it.